Hi, welcome to Tea with Laurie. I cannot believe this is our fifth episode. I'm so excited for so many of you that have been in touch and have been sharing what you've been doing with your creativity. Tonight may be a short session. I am leaving tomorrow to go to Santa Fe for 2 weeks, so I still have packing to do. And I want to leave with you with a lot of good thoughts and good challenges for the upcoming months. We are going to be taking the summer off, and we are reworking and redirecting Tea with Laurie. I'm very excited about a lot of the things that we are working on, and I'll tell you a little more later. So anyway, I just want to welcome you, have you kind of settle in before we do a quick meditation. And I wanted to show you my, it's a little bright, but this is my lemon tea ball that I love, that my friend and student Judith Mamie gave to me before we went to France, and it's really cool. So that's my Tea with Laurie tip for the night. So let's just, we're all really busy. We're having the summer solstice, and let's just kind of get into our seats and let go of the day. So I'll have you close your eyes, and we'll do a real short meditation, just about breath work. So close your eyes and take a deep breath. So take 3 deep breaths in. And with each exhale, I just want you to release and let go. Deep breath in. Exhale out. And with each breath in, just feel your chest and your heart opening. Feel calmness in you. As you exhale, just let go of the day. Let go of all the things you think you should be doing. Let go of all the stress. Deep breath in. Exhale and let go of tomorrow, the next day, the weekend. Deep breath in, and with your exhale, just let go of things you think you have to do. Just be very present with this moment, with this time. Deep breath in. This time is for you, not for anybody else, just for you. Deep breath in. And with each exhale, just feel yourself getting lighter. Feel yourself letting go. Deep breath in. Exhale out. Deep breath in. Exhale out. Deep breath in. And just feel renewal, rejoicing, appreciation, and exhale out all the stresses of the day. So another deep breath in with great appreciation. Just remember all the wonderful love and people that you have in your life, and that you have creativity as a part of your makeup and who you are as a human being. So as you're ready, I want you to open up your eyes, and I want to tell you about the photograph I have on the screen. I used this for the meditation for today. This is of a wonderful woman, Christy, who has just moved up closer to me, which I'm so excited about. But I just love how the reflection of the sunlight and the hexagonal shapes just go right into her heart chakra. So anyway, welcome. I'm going to show you a slide of one of my students and I at Texas School. It's been a really wonderful year so far. I can't believe where I've already taught. You know, it started with Cuba in December, and then January it was London, and then I went to Texas School, and this is Texas School, and this is Chaz and I pretending we're ballerinas or ballet people while our ballerinas and our dancers in the background were getting ready. And if you see what's strapped to my camera, it's a lens baby, and I'm going to talk about lens babies in a little while, and that's the twist, and it's really a blast with infrared, and that's one of the things that I'm using to get out of the box. And I also want to remind you that I have on my website inspirational cards for you for assignments, and I'm finding I'm getting really great reviews. People are buying them, and they're using them a day, and they're using them for inspiration and other ideas. And one of the things I'm going to talk about today is a panoramic view of our lives and our shooting. We have a tendency to kind of get stuck in everyday, in what we're used to and what we're used to shooting and we like to shoot. And sometimes we have to get out of that box. But I'm going to take one more moment and then I'll get back to that and show you and just talk to you about something that I'm tremendously excited about. Is I'm going to be self-producing workshops. So this is my launch announcement, and in the fall, in September, I'm going to be offering my first workshop that's self-produced, and I'm so excited about it. And I hope my tribe of visual visionaries will come to some of the workshops. It's going to really be going deep and expanding our creativity. So anyway, so getting back to watching me for a little while, I want to talk about things that have been inspiring me lately. And one of the things has been, I've really been using intention in my classes. So in France, I've talked, you know, we had this amazing trip. I talked a little bit about it last month with Tea with Laurie. And the cool thing about it is that every day, my students would write in a journal. They had to write 3 pages. And sometimes it could be, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, but it's getting the creativity moving, because otherwise we get stuck. But I wanted them to have an intention for the day. And this is really important for creatives. And that's one thing that I'd like to challenge you to do. And also, I would hope that maybe you would post it in Visual Visionaries, some of the experiences that you're having. Maybe they're where you're stuck, or maybe what's working for you. But when you go out to shoot, when we all go out to shoot, it's what are we trying to say? What are we trying to do? We go in front of a tree that might be really beautiful, and we don't know what it is that we want to say. And sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves that every photograph has to be amazing. And when I read this of what Ansel wrote, 12 significant photographs in any one year is a good crop. Sometimes we don't even get that. Sometimes we do. We can't go about producing work with that kind of pressure on ourselves. We have to have intention, like, why are you taking this picture? Why did Ansel take this photograph? What makes it his photograph? What's his signature on it? What makes it unique to him? And I think that's really, really important for us. So one of the things that I do to get out of my box, and a lot of you know that, you know, I talk about that. How do we not get stuck? So Lens Baby has been really wonderful to Kyle and me. They have let us try out all their lenses, and we're just having a blast with it. This is with the Lens Baby Velvet 56, and it's just a spectacular lens, and this is an infrared image. And it makes me, you know, I formula shoot to a certain extent. Like, I know what works. I know what my panoramic view is. So for me to get out of my box a bit, sometimes I have to change equipment up, like a lens. So when we were teaching up in Maine this past week at Maine Media, which was wonderful, the female form, and we had a twist. The Lens Baby twist, which was just terrific, because again, it made me think differently. It was a longer, I don't have a full frame sensor, so it made me look at things differently. It made me change my depth of field. And I'm challenging you for inspiration, and also intentionally trying to do something different. Because some of you, many of you take my classes, and you know my goal is to take you out of your life, turn you 360 degrees around in 1 week, and then put you back in your life and see what you take with you, what you might see or feel differently. And that's what is really, really exciting. So James, if you could go back to, so people can see me, because I wanted to show you one of the boxes of the Lens Baby, which is really kind of cool. And I, you know, if you're taking a class with me, I usually have Lens Babies for you to try out. I guess we're not going to do that right now. But they're really, really, okay, there you go. So it's really fun. So Lens Baby Velvet 56. And you know, you can rent them. One of my students at Maine rented one, and then she ended up purchasing them. And I have 3 lens babies. I've got the compressor, I've got the velvet, and I've got the twist now. And it just makes me play because I don't put any stress on myself. And that's the other thing for inspiration and intention is maybe when you set your intention for the morning, like maybe you have the opportunity to spend some time shooting. Maybe your intention is, my intention is I'm going to spend 15, 20 minutes shooting. The other day, my friend Gary came over and I was just a wreck. And he says, I know what you need. You need to go out and shoot. Because he's seen me go out and shoot and I become a whole different person. Like I become focused, I become relaxed, and I tap into the right side of my brain. I'm not worrying about all the things I have to do before I leave to go away for another 2 weeks. So anyway, any of those little tricks that will help is really, really important. So I've given you a couple things for your toolbox. One is try a plastic lens. You know, some of us have these old plastic lenses. I have an old Holga lens. Try things that are different. Go out and shoot with your iPhone. Try getting a hold of a lens baby. See what happens. I realized the other day that I was having trouble seeing out of my right eye. I probably have cataracts, but I don't have the time right now to check it out. So I've had to retrain myself lately to photograph with my left eye. And you know what? It's a gift, because I'm starting to see things and do things differently. So let's talk about the panoramic view. Now, I was reading this book called Soul Shifts, which is really cool because I realized that I keep regurgitating the same things, like I'm not good enough, or I don't know what I want to shoot. I don't know what I'm trying to say. And so you get into a rut and that stuff actually happens. So this book is really, really, really interesting. I'll hold it up again in case you guys want to copy it. And you might want to read it. I don't think I try to get it on Audible. I don't think it's out on Audible yet, but it's more about soul's journey. So when I talk about the panoramic view, she talked about it. It's like, again, when I see people shoot, they have tendency to formula shoot. They use the same lens, they use the same focal length, they use the same angle. They're, you know, we do what's comfortable, and we don't always look around, go 360 degrees around our objects. We just go and shoot. But it's not just the physical shifting. It's not just the panoramic shifting of our cameras, of our body, of our movement, but it's also our soul. Because if we don't have an intention of doing something different, we just copy ourselves because we know it works. And I mean, I'm a very successful photographer. And, you know, sometimes it's hard to get out of that box because people expect what I do. But I need more. I want to grow. I want to go deeper. So one of the things that I have to do is have different scenarios or different stories inside of me that I would like to explore. And that takes some time. That takes writing. That takes other books. You know, anyone that's taken a class from me, they know that I really recommend The Artist's Way. And to me, it's this wonderful book. You can see, well, I took a lot of the tags off, but it's about, I think it's basically a 12-step book for recovering creatives. It's like we put so many things, obstacles in our way that keeps us from creating, like, oh, got to do the laundry. Oh, I got to make money. Oh, I got to do dishes. But like I said to you before, I go out and shoot for 20 minutes. My world is balanced. My life is good. I don't know why we chop off that part of ourselves. And we just don't have a culture that really supports creativity and realize how healthy it is for us. It's also a wonderful way for us to get unexpressed emotions out. I really recommend this book. Some of my students have the workbook that goes along with it. And there are wonderful quotes on the side, like I just opened this randomly. We cannot escape fear. We can only transform it into companions that accompanies us on all of our exciting adventures. Take a risk a day, one small or bold stroke that will make you feel great once you have done it. Susan Jeffers. Whoa, I couldn't have picked that more. I mean, that's really wonderful. So there's a lot of things that we need to support ourselves. Now, many of you have heard me talk about creativity as a muscle. You don't use it, you lose it. So you have to be using it. If you were a gymnast, an athlete, you would be, you know, I've talked about this too. If you were going to run a race, you would be working them. You would be practicing. You would be working with a coach. We don't do that with creativity. We just say, oh, I've got a week. I'm going out to create. But we need that. We need to make those muscles strong. So the way to do it is to surround yourself by things that remind you of being creative. That's why I read a lot of books. This is another book that actually I've given to some of my creativity daughters. It's called Big Magic, and it's Creative Living Beyond Fear, and it's by Elizabeth Gilbert, who is the author of Eat, Pray, Love. She's got a really great TED Talk. So I find that once a day, I either read something that inspires me, that just keeps me on track, that gives me permission. The other thing is, give yourself permission to create. We give ourselves permission to go to the gym. We give ourselves permission to eat 3 meals a day. We give ourselves permission to watch TV. Why shouldn't creativity, whatever that looks like, it doesn't actually always have to be the act of it, but it's tapping into that soul journey. And our soul is craving it. We're screaming. I can't tell you the number of students that I have, new students that I get, that come to me and say, I've had this great career. I've taken care of my responsibilities, but something's missing in me. A part of me is missing. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. And if you do, share your stories with us on Visual Visionaries, because you're going to help somebody else. You're going to inspire somebody else through this. And we have to be a tribe. That's why I'm trying to breed, breed this tribe. I guess that was kind of a Freudian thing, but I'm trying to, you know, we need each other for support to say, hey, do this. You know, it doesn't matter. There's no failing, or, you know, what are the killers of creativity are judgment and perfectionism. There isn't any. We can't judge. Judgment creates havoc with creativity. But we need, I mean, I know when my students, you know, have this week that is transformative when we take a week class, and then they go home and it's back to reality. And I get emails, I get calls from my students saying, I don't know what to do. I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. I don't have the support. So that's why I want you to think about intention and being inspired. And we'll talk more about, in the fall, I'm gonna have guests on that are going to talk about intention and inspiration. So set an intention, and it may be today. Tomorrow is just to connect with something, read something that will creatively stimulate me, or I'm going to go photograph for 15 minutes, or I'm going to look at pictures that I took a month ago that I haven't had time to. But the more you do it, the more you can't not do it. The more it's like, you know, when we make a habit change is 21 days. So the more we're diligent to it, the happier you're going to be, the healthier you're going to be. And you'll be shocked at what your life, you know, what's going to happen with your life. So getting back to the soul's journey, that's what we're trying to do. It's the landscape of our soul. So when we do the panoramic view, so next time you shoot, this is what I'd like, this is my challenge to you, is try 2 things. One is to walk around, not just put your camera up. I mean, I remember in France, my students were so excited about shooting. We were at a manor. There's a castle across the valley that you can see. There's a vineyard there. There were chickens and roosters and hens, and this dragon tree that one of my students called it a dragon tree, and it was, Natalie, you're right. But so they just wanted to shoot, and oh man, they were just like moaning and groaning that I wouldn't let them. I made them walk, just walk. And they looked, and they saw things that that's where she saw the dragon tree. They saw things that they hadn't seen before, or they saw things that they may not have seen because we're so quick to put that camera up. So that's photographing with intention. And it's somehow going to inform your imagery later on. And then the other part, so that's the visual thing. You know, if you're used to standing, you know, tall people, they have a tendency to have obviously a higher viewpoint. So people look a little bit shorter. But what if you laid on the ground? What if you tried a different angle? What if you shot from the hip? Have you tried that? That's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do differently. Look what the pictures look like. There's going to be something that's going to give you kind of a message. And we may not know what that is. But try something new. If you're used to doing a telephoto lens, do a wide. Get up as close as you can to your subject. How does that change? That's one of the cool things about the Velvet. It's a macro lens. So I've got a lens baby that's doing the bokeh around the swirl around the edges, and I can do macro. I mean, I haven't had a macro lens on my camera since I used film. And so it's opening up a whole new world for me. Now, I may do, some of you know the gel work that I'm doing, this color work that I'm doing. I say when I talk is that sometimes I don't know where this is going to go, and it may do nothing more than inspire me and also inform my infrared and the work that I've been doing. But again, I've got to branch out. Otherwise, I'm just copying myself, and then I get bored. So the other thing that I was starting to talk about is I want you to also photograph from a different point of view, your landscape, your soul. The soul it's craving to talk to us. It's craving to be nurtured. So what if, like, again, many of you know this, I photograph from my psychology. I work out a lot of issues in my life. But what I find I'm doing is I'm regurgitating the same issues because I know that that's what I photograph. So I'm trying to come up with other things. Like I'd like a little more metaphysical elements in my imagery, more soulful, more mystic, more metaphoric. So I've got to photograph from different places because that's my soulscape right now. So what's your soulscape? What would you like to try that's different? I'm going to Albuquerque to teach in Albuquerque too, as well as Santa Fe. And we're going to be doing a day workshop on photographing models. And I have a lot of people that come up to me and say, how do you get your model to do that? I mean, that's not something that I'm going to discuss tonight, but a lot of times it's storytelling. It's different intentions. I look at my model and see what that inspires them to me and me to them. So it's how do we look with fresh lenses? That's why, again, physically changing our lenses up will help us do that. So sometimes we physically have to do that. Me photographing from my left eye instead of my right eye has forced me to look at a different perspective. So ask yourself when you're writing, and I hope you do write morning pages, ask yourself what it is. How could you see differently? What else is your heart telling you that you may want to photograph or communicate? What are your intentions? What inspires you? I mean, this is something that we could talk about for a very long time. So my hope for today is to get you to start thinking a little differently. It can just be a little shift. It can be that you set up the camera and then you just move over 1 inch. You set up the camera, you go 180 degrees around, and you photograph what's behind you. It doesn't matter, just something different. And then look at the photographs. And sometimes you'll say, oh, they didn't work. I don't know why I'm doing that. But sometimes it's going to be, wow, I never thought of that. And sometimes it's just little tweaking. It's like if you were making a pot of tea and you steeped it too long, it changes the taste, the color, everything. You may like it. You might like a heartier tea. It's the same thing with spices and cooking. I think cooking analogies are wonderful for creative art photography analogies. So think about that. Just one little shift. Sometimes if I wear my hair differently, I feel different. And sometimes I just need that. Sometimes we just get stuck. And sometimes we have to go away from what we're doing, try something different, and then come back and do what we were doing. So anyway, I hope you guys share some of your ideas and some of your thoughts with each other, because I guarantee you anything you're thinking, somebody else has gone through it or is going to go through it. One other book that I tell all my students that I really think should be in your library is Twyla Tharp's book, The Creative Habit. And it really puts a structure around your creativity. You can't just get up and say, okay, I'm going to do an exhibit. You have to plan it out. You have to make, not necessarily a business plan, but you have to have a structure like, all right, I have to get a new body of work. I have to get the idea. I have to be photographing a certain amount of time every week. So the more you put structure and rationalization around our creativity, the more likely it is you're going to succeed. It could be a book. And it could be, okay, I'm going to do a 20-page book and I'm going to do it by the end of this year. So what steps do you need? Sometimes it's so daunting. I know you come to me and you want to get ideas and get creative bursts, but sometimes it's just little bitty steps. One little bitty step. And that's what Twyla Tharp talks about is, you know, the structure of just starting. You know, she is a choreographer. So we with photography, in some ways it's much easier because we have a scene that we have to make sense out of. We have to make organization out of chaos. We have models that we've got to talk to and create a story with. If she's choreographing and she's in a white room and there's nothing there, or there's a painter that has a blank canvas, or a writer that has a blank piece of paper. You just have to start somewhere. And that is intimidating. To me, it's intimidating, that first stroke. With a photograph, just take a picture and then you can just keep taking more pictures. You know, and maybe that's what you do is you see a scene and your thing for that one scene is to take 20 pictures that are different angles, different feelings, different vantage points. Just play with it. The more you play with it, and then write down what works. And some days something will work, and some days other things will work. But just have fun. And that's the other thing, is that we take it way too seriously. Art is fun. Art is creativity. It's a dance. I've been talking a lot. So anyway, I wanted to, we're going to put up the next slide, which is a quote. We are what we believe we are. And this is really important. It's like, you know, give yourself permission to be an artist. We're all creative. It's just we don't use that muscle because we're in a culture that really wants us to use that left side of the brain. But just say to yourself, we are what we believe we are. If we believe we can't make art, you can't make art. I know with my students, the first day when everybody introduced themselves, I know right away what their obstacles are because they tell me. They also tell me what they need. So I'm a big believer in thoughts become things. So if you think you can't do something, you're not going to be able to do it. If you believe you can, then you will. So you have to really be very aware of your verbiage. So we are what we believe we are, which means we can do anything we want to do. It may not look the way we want it to, but you have to have faith and trust. Next slide. Faith is the poetry of our dreams. Action is the builder of our reality. So this is exactly what I was talking about. You have to have faith in yourself. But having faith in yourself is not enough without the action step. You've got to break it down. Again, we've talked about roadmaps. I'm reiterating things that I've said almost every week. You know, Carol shared that last month too. I'm sorry, last month. But you have to identify, you know, what your intention is. You have to have faith. You've got to have faith that it can come true. And it is the poetry of our dreams. The action, what are the action steps? What's the roadmap? We went to Maine last week. We had a map. We knew how we had to go. We knew which road. We had to go north. You know, I found out today, I was talking to some of Kyle's friends, and I forgot that the only state that Maine borders is New Hampshire. There's no other way to get to Maine except if you go through New Hampshire. Now, if you're going up to Maine and you're in your car and you say, I know I can go right from Massachusetts into Maine, and you keep looking for that road, it's never going to happen. The only other way is to go up and around to Canada or to go out to sea and then come back in. So you have to know what your actions are. James helps me with that all the time. He helps me, you know, I define what I want, and then we talk about the action. How do we get the social media out there? How do we get people to see what I'm doing? So it is the builder of our reality. Some of the, you know, what's really cool is creativity is is endless. It's boundless. It's like the poetry of our dreams again. And yet the action is pretty concrete on how do you get there. You can't just, I met a whole bunch of students that just graduated from major art and photography schools last week. And it's like, now what? So they have to learn how to have a plan of action in order to get where they want to go. And they also have to have clarity. And clarity and intention and inspiration are things that we can't live without. Okay, so I have one more slide. The danger of venturing into uncharted waters is not nearly as dangerous as staying on shore, waiting for your boat to come in. I find this a lot, is people just wish that they'd be creative. They just wish that they will have a major show. They just wish that they will create a book or a book publisher will come in. I throw lots of mud out. Not everything sticks. Not every person wants to hire me to do their family portrait. Not every student is ready to take a class with me. They may not be ready for my style and they may never be. That's okay. But you've got to try as many things as possible and you have to have faith in yourself. So with that said, like I said to you, I'd like you to just have a really wonderful summer. We are going to cut this a little bit early tonight. If you do have questions, please, actually, if anybody has questions, now's the time to, just put it up on, that we can put it up on Tea with Laurie or on Google Hangout, right? Yeah, on Google Hangout. So you can just, ask me a question. So we've had trouble with this in the past. So if that doesn't happen, put it up on Tea with Laurie or better yet in Visual Visionaries and I'll check it. I'll be checking it to see if anybody has some questions. Get a buddy. Buddies are really important. That's why some clubs are really good. There's this infrared, there's two really great clubs in Albuquerque. One is an infrared club and the other one is the Enchanted Lens. And they do a lot together, so get a buddy that'll help you with your creativity. So I hope for the summer you really just enjoy yourself and enjoy your creativity. And we've been blessed with a love for a medium, which is so amazing and remarkable. And that's a gift. And we need to harness it. And harness it with somebody else. Have play dates. They're one of my most favorite things to do. Go to a gallery. Go to do anything. Watch a documentary on Netflix. I've talked all about this. But just do something a day that helps you tune on. I'll say that again. Be turned on and tapped into your creativity. Again, I'm really excited about the workshops that I'm going to be producing. Like I said, the first one will be in Fire Island, and in the next couple of weeks, I will be making that live. And would love to know where some of you guys might like to go and if there's any specific workshops that you might like to see. My cousin and I, who's a geologist, we're working on a workshop to Iceland, which we think we haven't even, worked out the logistics yet, but that workshop may already be filled because people have been contact me and said, save a spot for me. So I'm really excited about that. And we have a lot of other amazing trips coming up. And some will be local. So anyway, please stay in touch. I'm traveling a lot. I go, like I said, to Santa Fe, and then I'm doing image exploration up in Vancouver, which if you guys haven't gone there, it is absolutely spectacular. And there's it's like God's country. And if you're free the end of July, you should come up and, be with me. Be with me in Santa Fe next week. And then I'm at Peters Valley doing a really I'm very excited about this class. It's all about storytelling, and it's Through the Glass Darkly. And it's about reality, illusions, and dreams. And the class is full, so there is a waiting list. But anyway, I'm living my dream. I'm tapping into my creativity, and I want to inspire you all in any ways that I can. Any questions, James? No, okay, so we're not seeing any, so my apology. That's something that we're trying to work out. That's just something that has been an issue with Google Hangouts, so we'll try to fix that. So anyway, My best to all of you. Please stay in touch. Please post images. Sometimes that accountability piece of just saying, I'm going to post one image. That's my challenge to you. Post one image every other week on Visual Visionaries. Share. You're going to inspire other people as you inspire yourself. So thank you again for being with me, and I'll be in touch as to when the next one is in the fall, and our lineup for amazing guests. They're going to blow your minds. Okay, thank you so much. Night.